What's up YouTube, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and in this video I'm going to be comparing the specs and features of the iPhone 6 to the Samsung Galaxy S5. So the iPhone 6 has just been officially announced today, and it came along with the iPhone 6 Plus. So they had two versions here, a larger version and this version here as well. But this is going to be the main version, this is going to be the flagship, which is no doubt going to be compared a lot to Samsung's flagship of this year, which is the Samsung Galaxy S5. So what are the key differences between these two devices? Well, do hit that thumbs up button and let's find out. So starting off initially with the size difference, the iPhone 6 does come in smaller, 3.9mm in terms of height, 5.5mm in terms of the width, and it's also 1.2mm thinner. So a smaller device all around, a lot more compact compared to the Samsung Galaxy S5. But that does partly come down to the screen. You've got a 4.7-inch screen on the iPhone 6, whereas you've got a 5.1-inch screen on the Samsung Galaxy S5. Now you've got slight differences in terms of the types of screens as well. You've got an LED backlit IPS display on the iPhone 6. On the Samsung Galaxy S5 you've got a Super AMOLED display. Now both of these are absolutely great, and based on my experience of using previous iPhones and Samsung devices, they are some of the best screens out there. It will come down to personal preference. You're going to be having slight differences between these two, but it will definitely come down to personal preference. Overall, great screens on here. Now in terms of the resolution, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a full 1080p resolution, so that's 1920 by 1080. It works out to roughly about 431 ppi pixel density. There is also a Quad HD version which has a 2560 by 1440p display, but that is only available to certain markets. The iPhone 6 has a 1334 by 750 resolution. Quite a bit of a weird resolution there, I know, but that comes to 326 ppi pixel density. Now they've kept the pixel density the same as the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 5S, but they've changed the resolution, so it's slightly higher than 720p. But the advantage of resolution here definitely goes to the Samsung Galaxy S5 with that full 1080p display, pixel for pixel. Those videos are going to be looking that much better on that larger screen because of that higher resolution and the higher pixel density. Now looking at the differences in weight, you don't have a huge deal of difference. There's 16 grams between these two, so the iPhone 6 does come in a little bit lighter because it is smaller. The reason why there's not that much of a big gap between these two is because of the build. The Samsung Galaxy S5 is a plastic build, so it's a perforated back with a dimple soft touch finish, which does feel quite nice in the hand, and it also allows for a removable back, which gives you a removable battery as well as expandable storage, which is an advantage. But the iPhone 6 has that full metal body, so a metal unibody that you've got on the iPhone 6. They've continued this on from previous models, but you've got a slightly different design. It's a curved back, so it should be a little bit more comfortable to hold as well. Now the Samsung Galaxy S5, the advantage that you have here is that it's IP67 water and dust resistant. So if you do get it into a bit of water, that's not going to be a problem. The iPhone 6 is not water and dust resistant. So this is really going to depend on what your preference is. Do you prefer something that allows you the expandable storage and the removable battery, which we'll be talking about a little bit later, as well as the water and dust resistance, or do you want something that looks and feels that much more premium? Now looking at the internals, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has the Snapdragon 801 processor, which is clocked at 2.5 GHz quad core. This is very, very fast, and you can see lots of benchmarks and speed tests on the channel of the Samsung Galaxy S5. Quite a good performer. The iPhone 6 has the Apple A8 processor, and it's a 64-bit chip as you had with the iPhone 5S. Now they've not specified what the exact clock speed is of this, so we are going to have to put these side by side to see performance and which is better. The Samsung Galaxy S5 is roughly about 5 months old now, so this will definitely go towards it, but we'll have to put these side by side. And you've also got the M8 processor, so that's the M8 motion core processor on the Apple iPhone 6, which is going to measure motion data and things and not wake up the main processor for that information. Now in terms of the RAM, you've got 2GB of RAM on the Samsung Galaxy S5. On the Apple iPhone 6, they've not fully specified it as yet, but it's expected to be 1GB of RAM. This is not 100% confirmed, but this is what we're expecting. Now in terms of the different storage versions available, the Samsung Galaxy S5 comes in the 16GB version, which is the widely available version, and you've also got a 32GB option. The iPhone 6, now they've gone for something different here. You've got the 16, the 64 and the 128GB versions. So they've ditched the 32GB version. I would have rather they had ditched the 16GB and gone straight to 32, but this is what they've done. So you've got some more storage versions available on the Apple iPhone 6, but the Samsung Galaxy S5 does have expandable storage, so you can expand the storage on the Samsung Galaxy S5 with a micro SD card up to 128 gigabytes. So even if you want to go for the 16 gigabyte model and buy a 128 gigabyte card, you'd still have a lot more storage than the 128 gig version of the Apple iPhone 6. So that is something to bear in mind. Definitely an advantage to have that expandable storage. Now looking at the cameras, this is quite interesting. The Samsung Galaxy S5 has a 16 megapixel rear-facing camera, and it's a great camera. You can see lots of tests and results on the channel from it. It uses phase detection, autofocus, and you've got some features such as selective focus, which you can blur out the background and make an image look like a little bit more like it's been taken on DSLR. You've also got live HDR, so you can see exactly what your results are going to be while you're taking a picture or filming as well. The iPhone 6 has an 8 megapixel camera, so they've not increased the resolution. So the resolution advantage definitely goes to the Samsung Galaxy S5 here, but it's not always all about resolution. It is about quality of image. We will be putting these two side by side to check this. You've also got a TrueTone flash here on the iPhone 6, so this is similar to the iPhone 5S. This fires off two different flashes in different colors, one white, one amber, and it's going to give you some better skin tones. And you've also got phase detection autofocus on here as well, so this is similar on both devices. They're calling it focus pixels. Now, as you know, Apple like to give some fancy names to their technology, so they're calling it focus pixels. Now this we'll have to put side by side to see on the channel later on when we've got the iPhone 6 in hand. In terms of video, the Samsung Galaxy S5 films at up to 4K, so that's 2160p at 30 frames a second, which is absolutely great. And slow motion you've got at 720p 120 frames a second. Now with the iPhone 6 you've got 1080p up to 60 frames a second, so you've not got 4K on here. This is something we were doubting that Apple would include anyway. I don't think they would have done that. So you've got 1080p here, but you've also got 720p at 240 frames a second. Let that sink in. This is on a smartphone, 240 frames a second, which is absolutely awesome. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking this out. This is my favorite feature on the iPhone 6, having that super slow motion, which is absolutely great, and definitely looking forward to checking it out. In terms of front-facing cameras, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a 2 megapixel front-facing camera, which is capable of filming 1080p HD. The Apple iPhone 6 only has a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera, which is capable of filming 720p HD. Now this, once again, they have still kept it to 1.2 megapixels. With that selfie craze, I would have expected them to have improved that. I mean, the iPhone 5, the iPhone 5S, both had a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera. Yes, it's improved. It's got some new features like burst mode and things, but why not a larger resolution? I mean, you know, having a large resolution. So things like the Note 4 actually have 3.7 megapixel sensors. So why couldn't have Apple just at least gone up to 1080p and a little bit more megapixels on here? So this is a situation. Once again, we will put these side by side to see what the real differences are. Now, looking at the operating systems, the Samsung Galaxy S5 comes with Android, KitKat, so it's 4.4.2 with an update to 4.4.4 coming soon. Now this has the touch with skin on top, so that's Samsung's touch with skin. Now this has a lot of features such as multi-window and things, so it does have some nice features on here, but you aren't going to be getting updates directly from Google. You're going to have to wait for Samsung to put those through. The iPhone 6 comes with iOS 8 out of the box, so you are going to be getting the latest version of iOS, and the updates are going to be coming through straight away as well. Now, in terms of the differences between these two, this is a very big debate, and it will definitely come down to your personal preference. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. In terms of the connectors, the iPhone 6 also uses the Lightning connector as you had with the previous models, as the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 5S. But the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a USB 3 connector, so this is a micro USB 3 connector, so it's definitely more universal. And with USB 3 you are going to be getting some faster speeds from your computer when you're transferring data and things. The Lightning connector has the advantage of having a flippable cable, so you can switch it on either side, but it's definitely a lot more expensive. You're looking at least about 4 times more expensive than a standard micro USB cable. Now, in terms of the additional features, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a fingerprint scanner, so you can swipe to do this. Now this isn't great because you do have to swipe and you have to be in the same angle. You can't do it in any direction or anything like that. You have a heart rate sensor at the back as well, which is useful for your fitness apps and things, and you've also got an IR blaster at the top, which is going to be useful to control your television and other infrared devices. Now with the iPhone 6 you've got Touch ID. Now Touch ID is much better than the fingerprint scanner on the Samsung Galaxy S5. I'll tell you that now from experience of using the iPhone 5S and the Samsung Galaxy S5. With the Touch ID feature you can actually do it in any angle, and you just have to touch. You don't have to do no swiping business. So definitely for me, the Touch ID definitely gets the edge here in terms of that unlocking feature. But the new thing that Apple have done is now they've got Apple Pay, so you're gonna be able to make payments. They've got NFC on here finally, which the Samsung Galaxy S5 has had, as well as the S4. But you're gonna be able to make payments much more easily and authorize them with Touch ID, which is absolutely great. Now with the Samsung Galaxy S5, they have integrated this with PayPal and things, but Apple have reached out to many more providers, and you've got things like McDonald's, you've got the Apple stores where you can use it, lots and lots of different stores where you're going to be able to use this, as well as some integration with your credit cards as well. So a key feature here that Apple have definitely been pushing on. Now looking at the batteries, the Samsung Galaxy S5 has a 2800 milliamp battery, which is removable. With the iPhone 6, they've not specified the exact milliamps on the battery. Now this is expected to be roughly about 1800 milliamps. We're gonna have to wait till people actually open these up because Apple does not disclose this information. The other thing is with the battery of the iPhone 6 is that it's not removable, so the advantage of a larger battery goes to the Samsung Galaxy S5, as well as the fact that you can remove it, you can charge it separately, you can have a spare as well, which gives you an advantage. In terms of the usability, we are going to have to put these side by side and see which one performs better throughout the day in terms of battery performance. Now finally, looking at the price, the Samsung Galaxy S5 right now you can pick it up for roughly between £400 to £450 in the UK, or around about $550 in the US. So the price has definitely come down quite a bit since when it was released. The iPhone 6, because it's just going to be releasing, you can pick it up for the comparable model, the 16GB model, you're looking at £539 in the UK or $649 in the US, and as you get the larger storage versions, this is how it goes. So the Samsung Galaxy S5 is definitely going to be considerably cheaper compared to the iPhone 6. Now this does partly come down to the fact that it's been out for some time. The price may further drop now that we've got the competition from the iPhone 6 as well. So there we have it, the iPhone 6 versus the Samsung Galaxy S5. The two giants, Samsung and Apple, go head to head once again. Yes, the Samsung Galaxy S5 is a few months old, but it's definitely still their flagship that they're going to be running with up until next year. So it's really going to come down to your personal preference. I think both of these devices offer some advantages and disadvantages. Nice to see that Apple now have a larger screen with the iPhone 6, and you've also got the iPhone 6 Plus, which has an even larger screen. So now they're definitely going to be competing more on the level with Android devices, whereas before you definitely had the smaller one. What do you think of the iPhone 6? How do you think it compares to the Samsung Galaxy S5, and which one would you prefer? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, as always, please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And why not subscribe to the channel? I've got plenty more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV. I'll see you next time. If you want to see more regular videos like this one, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, which will be below. If you're on a mobile device, it may be somewhere else. If you want to see my previous related video, then hit the link right here. If you want to stay in touch over Facebook, Twitter and Google+, then all of the addresses will be there somewhere, as well as direct links in the description below. Okay, if you're still watching, then that means you've not done one of those things, so no. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna go downstairs. See. Okay. There isn't really a downstairs. Anyway, so yeah.